Hi everyone, it's Caroline here from Aussie Cards and Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me today. What I'd like to show you how to do today is to make a center step card. Okay, so it is a very simple card to make, and I know I always say that, but this one is very simple, but the folding of it is, and the measuring of it, you've just got to be a little bit careful with that. So, but as you can see, that's basically how it looks. This one isn't finished. This is just my prototype, and I made some silly mistakes, like I didn't make this paper long enough or things like that. But that's okay for what I'm doing here. I've corrected that on the one that I'm going to make today. This is a fantastic card because it doesn't take many resources. What I have done is I've used an A4 piece of white card. I have used some card here, or some, not even card, that's actually paper that was from last year's collection, that was left over in my scraps, and that's just a piece of scrap black that goes along there. The flowers that I'm going to use, I'm basically just cutting from scrap gold glitter. I've used the poinsettia stamp just here. I did have some other colours in there already cut out, but they didn't look right on here. I really do need the gold to go in with that. And of course I used this one, I think, on my last tutorial. Just the very small Merry Christmas is all that I really need. So I'm going to use those two. I've already actually cut those out, so I won't need those. But as I said, the difficult, or not so much difficult part, but the tricky part of this is actually making sure that your measurements are correct. Now, before I go any further, let me give you the measurements of all the card. The base piece is going to be 11 inches by 4.5 inches. Okay, so 11 inches by 4.5 inches. Your centerpiece that comes in here, just there, is going to be 4.25 inches. That looks like a little bit bigger than 4.25, but it's supposed to be 4.25 inches by, sorry, 4 3/8. That's what it is. 4 3/8 of an inch by 2.25. Okay, so 4 3/8 along there, and 2.25 just there. These two side pieces that go down here, these ones need to be 4.25 inches by 3/4 of an inch, and you need two of those. And then the piece that goes along here, the black piece, that's going to be 3/4 of an inch by, oopsies, by 4.25 inches. And all of these measurements will be below when I post the video up. So if you'd like to have a look down below, that will be there. So moving on with our first piece. This is, as I said, it's really important that we get these measurements correct. So along your 11-inch line, I need you to grab a pencil and just put a little mark at 1 inch, 2 inches, 5.5 inches, and 6.5 inches. Turn your paper around, or your card around, should I say, and I would then like you to mark at 4.5 inches, 5.5 inches, 9 inches, and then 10 inches. And when you pull that away, you will see that your marks on the side are uniform, both sides. Okay. Along the 4.5 inch side, I also would like you to measure in 1 inch there, and put another mark at 3.5 inches just there. Turn the paper around and do exactly the same thing. So you're going to do it at 1 inch and 3.5 inches. Right. What I like to do then, and I'll just pop this out of the way just for a moment. I will need it again in a minute. But what I then like to do is I then like to just draw a very light line from those two marks that you made. So that's 1 inch in, and this is the 3.5 inch one. Okay, just like so. Okay. now, if I get my ball back in again, this is where you've got to be really tricky, because when I tried to do it just a moment ago, I made a mistake as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this one up, and I'm going to I'm going to leave that there for you just for a moment. If you want to take a screenshot, please do. So what you've done is you've done a 1 inch mark here, you've done a 2 inch mark there, you've done a 5.5 inch mark there, and a 6 inch mark there. You've also done 1 inch in there and 1 inch in there at both sides, and you've drawn a line. As you can see, we cut part of that out, but the rest of them are all fold lines. Okay, so I'll leave that there just for a moment. If you want to take a screenshot, that would be great. Okay, I'll bring it back a little bit later. So what we now need to do is we line this up, and you can see we've got our 1 inch, our 2 inch, our 5.5 inch, and our 6.5 inch. So we need to do some score lines from the 1 inch, the 2 inch, miss out the 5.5, and then do the 6.5. And we're only going to go until that pencil line. So let's do that on this side. So there's the 1 inch. There's the 2 inch. There's the 6.5 inch. Now, at your 5.5 inch one, you're going to need to, I'll do that one in a minute actually. I'll go around and I'll do the other one now. If we come to this one, you'll see that it's at 4.5 inches. So you need to do the 4.5 inch one first. Miss the next one and then go down and do your 9 inch one just to that very first line, and then your 10 inch one. Now, what is probably easier for you to do with this one, and just bear with me for a moment, I think if you were to use your ruler and line up the 5.5 inch mark on both sides, you're actually going to take this one from that 1 inch line down to that 3.5 inch line, and you're going to make a score there. So if you can actually see it, we've got a score there, we've got a score in the center there, and we've got a score there on both sides. What we now need to do is to take a knife, or you can use your cutter if you find it easier. I personally prefer a knife, so I'll grab a knife. There we go. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut from that 6.5 inch just in there on the 1 inch line down to the 1 inch line. So you're going to be actually cutting from there to there. Okay, so line it up and very carefully, always use a metal ruler if you're using, whoopsies, if you're using a blade, just down to that 1 inch mark. And you'll see that I went a bit crooked there, but we'll see how that pans out. Now on this line, once again, on that, you are going to go from the same spot. So you're going to go from the 6.5 inch and you're going to bring it right down to that 1 inch mark there. Okay, and that is what will happen. Okay, so you've got that. So that's pretty much all your scoring and all your cutting done. So what we need to now do is, using your eraser, rub out any of the marks that are on your card. So we don't need those to go out. You can see where I cut it incorrectly there, but I'm going to persevere. If it doesn't work out, I won't give it to anyone, but it won't change the way that the card actually looks. Okay, so rubbing out all of those marks, and what you're going to now do is you are now going to fold this. In fact, we'll fold this one in like so. Just that one at 5.5 inches, just fold it like so. This one here is going to be the opposite way, because as you see, that's going to be this way as well. Okay, so it's not going to be the opposite way, it's going to be that way. So you've got two mountain folds there. When you come down to these ones, you need to have a valley fold on that 2-inch line and then a mountain fold just there. So going over that again, you have got 2 mountain folds. So if you fold this one first and then fold those over, when you come down to this one, you then use a valley fold for the first one, and you'll find that this will automatically go into a mountain fold. Make sure that everything lines up before you burnish really, really well. This card does need a lot of burnishing. So use your burnishing tool and make sure that all of those fold lines are beautifully burnished. And there you have the basis of your card. Now it's a case of just decorating it. So what I have done is I'll put this one together again. What I've done is I've used exactly the same papers that I was using on that one. And I did give you the measurements to them before, but they are in the below on the blog if you would like them. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick that centerpiece down. Okay. Now when you're placing this, I have made it so that it goes down pretty much to that score line down here. So there will be about 1/8 of an inch at the top, but this will actually go down to that score line. And the reason I've done it that way, just try and make it nice and central. The reason that I have done it that way is because when I put this on, there's going to be, I don't want there to be another, a huge amount just there between. I want that to be even. So as you can see, that one's quite even when you put the black piece on. If I had done it the normal, which would be the like that up there, it would just be too much. So that's why that particular measurement is 4 3/8 by 2 1/4, I think. Yeah, 4 3/8 by 2 1/4. Okay, the other 2 side ones. Now, the best way to do this is to open it all up again. The 2 side ones are going to go there, and I've cut them correctly this time, which is great. Pop that up there for the time being, because what I want to show you now is how I make my flowers. So I'm just going to grab a mat. Now this is a rubbery type mat. And I will get there's my Merry Christmas, and I've got, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 very large flower, and I'm going to do 2 small flowers. So there we go. We need that with that one, that with that one, and then we've got these. This one's going to be the bigger one. So what I do is I turn all of my flowers over upside down, and I use a ball tool like that, and I just make sure that they're nicely curved by just going round and round and round, and you can see that then brings it up. So you do that on all the leaves, right down to the tip. Okay, so what I've done there is I've gone over all of the petals of all of the flowers. This is just one big flower, they're 2 small flowers, and I've used that, and that just breaks the memory of the card, and it gives it some shape and just makes it look an awful lot better. Now, because I'm using glue, I'm going to see if I can find my mat. Which I can't, so that's okay. I'll just be careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now pop these together, and I'll do my big one first. And basically what you've got to do is you've got to lay them up. Now that's the biggest one, this is the next one down, and you basically make sure that your petals are not all in. You wouldn't want your petals all laying on top of each other like that, because that wouldn't look nice. So you stagger them and you bring it round. So I'm going to put some little bit of glue on the center here. You can do this with tape. The problem with doing it with tape, and I know that you should use tape anytime you're using either mirror board card or glitter card, you should be using tape, but I just find that this does stick, and I have never had a flower come apart, so I'm going to persevere with this, and you just layer them up. So grab the next one and press down really hard in the center, and then you grab your last one and pop that there. And what I tend to do is I come back with my I'm just going to pop that so I don't really want any glue on my rubber mat there. What I do is I then press it down like so with that ball tool again to make sure that they are all in position and they are all staying where they should be. Okay, I'll leave that one to dry for a moment. Now these ones I've only got the 2 of each because they're going to be smaller. I don't want 3 big flowers on there. I think that would be far too big. So these ones are only just 2, so I'll do the same thing there. The other thing you need to consider is by pressing that down into that rubber, because that's quite soft, you're actually giving even more shape to the flower. So there's our big one and there's our smaller ones. Now what I will do, and I haven't got it out at the moment, but I will probably, I might see if I can find one. I might see if I can find some black. There's some little ones, but if I could find some black, or yeah, just to make them stand out even more, I will. Let's see how we go with these black ones here. Now with this, I will once again put glue on there, mainly because I don't think that although they're self-adhesive, I don't really think that they would stick. So I'm going to put probably, I'm probably going to put 3 of these on there. So let's find my pokey tool. So I'll put 1 in there, and I'm putting black because it matches with my paper. I'll put another one in there, and a 3rd one in there. So there are our 3 flowers. Now all we need to do is to finish the outside is to attach our flowers. Now I'm going to attach them with some foam tape. Just here. So I'll turn that over and I'll just put a nice little square of foam tape in the centre there and take the backing off. Let me see, where do I want them? Maybe one there, and one there. Yep, I'm happy with that. So that's over to one side. A little bit of foam tape on the back of these as well. So another one just there, and the last one down here. Right, so that's nearly the outside of our card done. But as I said, I did do a sentiment, and the sentiment I have done in the same, but I'm going to pop it down here. So it's just a case of making sure that it's on the right track. Now, what you could do here is do a very, very, very light pencil line. And you wouldn't have to do this with all sentiments, but because this is, it's a little bit wonky, it just will help me getting it on the correct spot. So Merry Christmas Christmas can go there, and Merry there. Oops, wrong one. Bring them a little bit closer. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that's the outside of the card finished. Okay, so there we go, front of center step card. But when you open it up, it's pretty boring inside. So what I thought I would like to do today is I thought I'd like to do some decorating. So I'm going to use this piece here, and I'm going to have it come down from there. And there was another little piece that was that I cut out just from the scraps, and I thought I would just pop that there because it's just as if the leaves are still coming in. So I'll just use the glue once again on that. And what I'm now going to do is I am now going to put a very, very small sentiment there, and it might have to be over to one side. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide that when I decide what sentiment I'm going to have. So just bear with me for a moment. Okay, so what I'm going to use is, I'm not going to use it's a known stamp, but I'm not going to use any of those. I'm just going to use a very small Merry Christmas, which happens to be on here with a little heart. So I'm going to use that. Make sure that it's lined up okay. And I'm just going to, because it's white and black card pretty much and gold, I'm just going to pop it, I think, centered in there. And that's why I'm using a small one, so I can center it. That's not very, it doesn't matter, but it's not very straight, but never mind. That's one of those things, I guess. I'm not making the card again because of it. So, yeah. But that still looks lovely, and it just takes the plainness off. So there we go. There we have our stepper card. As I said, I will leave that there for you just for a little while, just so if you do want to take the measurements, I will have all the measurements on the blog. So you just click the down button and you'll see all the measurements that are there. But once you've done that part, and once you've got all your scoring and your cutting correct, the card, as you can see, is very, very easy to make. So there we go. So that was my prototype, and that is the finished card. So I'm pretty happy with that. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up down the bottom and subscribe to my channel. That would really be appreciated. If you're a member of our Facebook group, please head on over. Please make some and head on over and post them up on our Aussie Cards and Crafts Facebook page. We're a very friendly group of people there. We've got some absolutely lovely members, and yeah, we'd love to see your makes over there as well. So please come and join us there. I hope, as I say, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to bringing you another tutorial very soon. Bye.